you never heard of. Hey everybody, welcome to the Common Folk Podcast with Ben, Morgan, and Andy.
The Common Folk Podcast is brought to you by one of the newest and coolest brands in the outdoors, Stock and Rod. Stock and Rod brings to the outdoors person quality apparel items that you can be proud to sport. The gear is top-notch and the designs are second to none. Stock and Rod also represents some of the biggest names in the outdoor social media and YouTube space by handling the design, production, and sale of their own branded merch. Check them out at www.stockandrod.com. Stock and Rod. Wild game on. Okay, welcome back to the podcast.
Yes, beautiful spring day.
We should say good morning.
The Common Folk.
Common Folk.
This is a random time to be recording.
10 o'clock.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've done earlier.
We have.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, if it's not 5 o'clock yet or, whatever, we can't crack a beer, just throw a little,
Are you drinking some of that Farm Focus coffee or what?
Yeah, and then I just throw a little bit of that Cooper's Chase bourbon.
Ooh.
How's that? We're less than a minute in, we already got 3 shout-outs.
Someone, actually, this week, I was talking to somebody, and they asked me, where can they get the Cooper's Chase?
Really?
Yeah.
Hy-Vee, right
That's
down the
what
road.
I thought. That's what I told them.
Yeah,
I
but
said,
what
"Go
if they
check out
don't have a
Hy-Vee."
Hy-Vee? What if they're not local?
Well, it was someone local that asked me that. But.
Okay, but can you go online? Does he have a website?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Cooper'sChase.com.
He's definitely got a website. I don't know if it shows.
But sometimes shipping alcohol isn't really allowed. So maybe
Right.
it does like a location finder would be my,
Oh, yeah.
like type in your zip code.
Doug, if you're listening, get on that.
I don't know.
So we're actually going to be talking with Doug next Sunday. He's going to be he's going to be talking NASCAR.
Oh,
on our
shoot.
live
And that's when
broadcast.
I'm going to be gone. I'm so bummed.
Man, well, we'll have it all recorded and stuff.
Okay.
In fact, this is going to be WTLs. This is going to be our first
Live.
Yep, YouTube Live. We've never done YouTube Live on our channel yet.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an experiment, but either way, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a good show.
Is any of it going to come over to Common Folk or?
Well, Ben's going to be there.
I'll be there, but I don't think we're going to be doing any recording or anything.
Okay. Well, if he's recording, I just didn't know.
Because is that Talladega?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the whole basis. We're going to have a pregame type
Dang.
show.
Okay.
With a lot of fun, festivity type stuff. And then wrap it all up about a half an hour before the green flag drops. Let everybody get their barbecue, and drink on. And then
Fun.
do a little watch party too.
Are kids welcome or do I need to line up a sitter for Joel? So.
He doesn't need a sitter. He's old enough.
Well, true.
Yeah.
But are you going to be gone all day? Is it like all
I guess
day
it depends on
drinking?
how crazy
Andy?
it
Well,
is.
yeah. I what?
I mean,
a 500 like that. I
yeah.
think it's a Geico 500. I mean, that lasts,
Hello?
3 hours?
Long race.
Yeah, but then you've got to prime before, then you stay after.
Well, then
Just curious.
Yep, pre-show. Maybe we will have to do like a quick post-game.
There's a chance.
That
Would be
like
some
that.
funny shit right there.
Well, and your buddy's going to do the catering, right?
Right, yep.
He's on board?
Yep,
He's
my
good to
buddy
go?
Luke. Yep, he
Okay.
said he's on. We've got the pork shoulders rounded up.
Awesome.
So we got to find some, what else we got to do? I don't know, a couple random things. Get some buns rounded up and all that, and he'll
There
be
we
doing
go.
the barbecue. So
Rotella's is across the street.
I know, I got to figure out how to get to them so we can
Yeah.
get our hands on some stuff.
Well,
You just drive there.
well
No, I don't think so. That's
Yeah,
the,
they
that's
have
the
a store.
factory.
That's, yeah.
They
factory-
they literally have a store. I've been
Do they
in there,
really?
guys. You
Cool.
walk in and you buy bread cheaper than you do at the grocery
Do you
store.
think the store's open on
believe you.
Sunday?
I don't know, but I'll look it up.
Okay.
I go to
well,
the
ahead and do
brewery
it.
probably more than I need to, so maybe I could just shoot over to
Yeah.
shoot across
Literally,
the
you
street.
Yeah.
go across the street, Andy,
Okay.
and you walk through the door and you buy whatever you want.
I believe you. And for folks that don't know, Rotella's is a local bakery that's been around the Omaha area forever. And
The
their-
best bread.
Yep, their factory or manufacturing plant. What do you call bakery, right?
Yeah, that would be it, I think.
They're big ass bakeries across the street from the brewery. So.
Big ass bakery.
So we'll have some killer barbecue,
Mm-hmm.
race cars,
Yep.
podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
beer.
Uh-huh.
How-
Now you just need the chicks.
Does it get any better?
I don't think so.
I don't know about the chicks. What are you talking about?
Well, I'm just saying, don't they normally I'm thinking of like drag racing and they're like waving that flag like, woo, look
Morgan's
at
onto
me.
something here.
Hey, if you say
I'm
so.
in my swimsuit.
If you
Oh.
say so.
I mean, I'm not going to be there.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you're giving Ben some leeway here. I don't know.
Is that what they call a hall pass?
Yeah, there you go, a hall pass.
No, a hall pass is who can you sleep with.
Oh, come on.
If
Why
you
you
ran
gotta go
into
there?
them in the elevator.
Why you got to go there with it?
Well, so what?
If they
what
were a
is-
celebrity,
So this isn't a hall pass. This is more of a look pass.
I guess. No. Well, you said, what else do you need? Come on. You said drinking, cars.
Yeah.
What else? It seems like cars, chicks,
I think
drinks,
it's,
Barbecue.
barbecue. Yeah.
I'm not the biggest NASCAR guy out there, but I'm pumped up for this.
So
one.
have you
I
been
think it's gonna
doing
be a
your
lot of fun.
studying or what?
Oh, sure. We've done a couple more. Just you start doing something like our sports betting podcast, and I'm
right.
all thinking betting football, betting baseball. Uh-huh. And there's this whole demographic of people out there that are really into betting NASCAR, and they're good at it.
Really?
And so we've had some of these guys on the show. They're just fantastic. They're passionate about it,
Yeah.
and just their level of knowledge, it just blows you away. And it's interesting. I find it interesting and kind of fun to dive into. So we got a couple of those guys on. Doug Trainer's going to be one of them.
Okay.
And, man, he knows his NASCAR.
Does he?
Oh,
See,
my,
we
yeah.
love NASCAR.
Yeah, it's great.
We used to go to a lot of races in his old
Cool.
job. Where were the places that we went? Bristol, Martinsville.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Went to Charlotte,
Charlotte.
Atlanta.
Yeah. So
Well, you guys are kind of in the
Ben's-
cradle of
Yeah,
NASCAR there.
right.
Yeah.
You know? I think the following week, Kansas City Motor Speedway is going to have an event.
Oh, is it down in Kansas?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
we should be going to that.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah.
So, you had mentioned Doug earlier. We were talking about the drink. So, CoopersChase.com. I don't see anywhere on here where he says where you can get it necessarily, but there's definitely contact info. So, if you want to give that stuff a try, I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
I do follow him on Facebook, and every so often there'll be a post that says, "Okay, now this restaurant is offering it. Ask it by name."
Oh, cool.
So yeah, if you give him a follow, he'll keep you up to date a little bit on some of that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yes, sir.
yeah.
So, what's the topic here, boys, today?
So we're in the beginning and really the thick of, well, I guess not the thick yet because that's coming up this weekend, of turkey hunting in Nebraska, in the Midwest in general.
Yep.
I think shotgun season opens this weekend, doesn't it?
Correct.
For adults.
The regular shotgun,
shotgun
season
season, yep.
opens this
So
weekend.
previous to this was bow.
Yep. Archery season opened up a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then youth was last weekend.
Last
correct?
weekend, yep. So the kids get a week worth of no law-abiding adults out in the woods.
Trying to take their toms.
Yeah.
I think that's a good deal, staggering it like that.
It's great, yeah.
And giving the
Yep.
youngsters the first crack at it.
Yeah.
I like it.
You took Joel out.
Yeah, Joel and I went out twice. We were hoping to get out again this weekend, but depends on what trap shooting. But heard some birds for sure, but didn't see anything.
Okay.
So no shots. So just trying to figure out and that's the game. So in just talking about turkey hunting in general, there's probably a fair amount of people who listen that either turkey hunt themselves or who are interested in it, because I feel like it's getting more and more popular. I'm hearing people talk about
Right.
it all the time.
Yep.
And also what's kind of neat, or that I didn't predict, is that I'm hearing about it from people outside of the Midwest more
Yeah.
than I'm hearing it from people around here.
100%. Yeah.
So
Really? Like, what do you mean?
So
What do
it's like birds here where we are, we see them all the time. Mm-hmm. So it's not hunting season.
Yep.
We're driving down the road. We see a flock out there messing around, whatever they're doing. Mm-hmm. Even you get into some of the towns and people have them in their backyards.
Right. Yep.
I mean, it's like they're
Oh,
they're everywhere.
okay.
They're scattered throughout Omaha.
Yeah.
There are parks and areas like that are just flooded with turkeys.
Right.
Boys Town actually had an issue. That big acreage of
Wow.
Boys Town, an issue with too many turkeys screwing up their garden and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's like, I think what I'm getting at is, for us, it's just kind of an everyday thing. We see them all the time. Although when you go to hunt them, when you go out hunting,
There you go.
the game changes.
Yes, it does.
It's not quite as easy as you think it would be when you see them every day driving down the road. But for folks who don't live here and don't see the bird all the time, it's like, there's something there. Like, man,
Yeah.
I want to go find one. I want to go hunt. It's a new hunt. It's a new
Yeah.
species. It's a new
And a lot
activity.
of times it's different styles too. So like our outfitter, we bring guys in from Kentucky, Alabama, Mississippi, and they're always the ones that are just bonkers about it. They're like, "Oh my God, look at all those birds over there! Pull over, we got it." I'm like, "No, that's not our ground.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be birds over here. Just trust me, we're going to be all right." You know, but it's a completely different style, and our numbers are usually a little bit better than what they're used to as far as number of birds that you have an opportunity to hunt and to chase around. So it's pretty cool to actually see that, and that's, for me, it's kind of evolved into where I get more joy out of it, you know, taking like Joel out or a guy, you know, from down south that doesn't see birds like that all the time.
Right.
And also show them a different style.
Like
know?
when you say style, what does that mean? Like style of how to find the bird?
So like your typical hunter from like down around Georgia, it's very thick woods, you know. So you don't see them coming from a long ways away. Sometimes you don't even hear them because they're overhunted, you know, so they kind of keep quiet and they just sneak in to see if it really is a hen making that noise when you're calling them.
Okay.
But if we keep the pressure down, they're going to act like they naturally would and be very vocal and strut around and really put on their show, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a spectacle, and it's so cool. It makes your hair stand up on your neck. Like no matter how many times you've been turkey hunting, when you call one in and you get to see that show, it's special. You know, I don't know. It just gives you a feeling like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
The adrenaline rush, all that stuff. But then also how, like on our ranch, how it's so wide open, and it's kind of where regular terrain meets the sandhills, so it's kind of wide open. You can call a bird in from like across the pasture, so you'll see this guy just motoring from 500 yards away and stopping every so often to strut and do this and that's like it's just something you wouldn't have an opportunity to do in a lot of areas down south or even out east, like in Illinois or even maybe in Indiana in a lot of parts.
Okay.
So
because I feel like here in our backwoods, so that to you is more woodsy, like than what you're talking about on your farm.
Right. And like right now, we're kind of talking about it, how I saw a big old Tom on the way out here to you guys' farm.
Yeah.
And he was out in the middle of the road, you know, in broad daylight. Well, of course he is, because he's out there strutting. He wants to be seen. He wants to be heard.
So he wants the girls to see him.
Yes.
And is the trick that he leads and they follow, or is he following the girls, trying to find them?
You know, that's a really good question, and that's where some of the confusion comes up.
Okay.
So naturally, you know, in the early morning, Ben, and I'm sure you've been before the sunrise, you start hearing the gobbles, right? And they're still up in the roost. That Tom is telling all of the ladies, get over here. And they usually follow suit, and they all go there. Now, when we make a call, we're usually doing the hen call, right? And he's hammering back. He's doing his gobble, saying, get over here, woman. You know, I'm putting on my show. But if you keep doing that call and he likes the sound of it, he's going to get frustrated and run over and tell her, get over here with the rest of my girls. You know what I mean?
Like come over.
Yeah, it's kind of an unnatural thing. It's just, it's a deal where dominant Tom's like, I need to tell this gal to get over here, you know, because I'm doing my thing and I got the rest of the flock over here. She needs to get over here. So, or you got a random Tom that just got his butt kicked and he'll take any action he can get. You know what I mean? Like,
and it's mating season. This sounds dumb, but like, how long does this last for?
So they're in the thick of it right now.
Okay.
That's why this is the season. And you can call them in now because it's just so active, right? All the Toms out there, young, old, whatever, whether they're ready for it or not, they perk up when they hear that female call. Yeah. And they come running. And that doesn't necessarily happen here in about 3 months.
And it's
and then
funny
it's over.
Because prior to just like even 2 weeks ago, you could 100% see the difference in the behavior. So we drive down this road every day, and we see them probably every other time or every third time we drive down the road. And the males, starting a couple weeks ago, really started acting different.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they were, oftentimes you seen them, they were all puffed up.
Yes.
You know, they're doing their thing, they're doing their dance, whatever. You can tell they're just trying to be the boss out there.
Oh, yeah.
Where before, unless you looked close, it was kind of hard to distinguish the male from the female until you sat down and you started looking. You could see a beard or whatever.
Right.
But now it's obvious.
Yeah. They're strutting around, literally strutting around with their chest puffed out. And yeah, before when it was still kind of wintry and before the females came into cycle, they kind of remind me of like how deer, like the bucks would work during season. They'd kind of let the does go out first. And they'll keep their head down.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to step out there. They'll let the
they'll let the ladies get shot first.
They'll let the ladies go out there. They'll let the young bucks, follow first. And then the antlers will show up.
I think what you're getting at, like the picture that you're painting, it's kind of funny, I guess, if you think about it. But a lot of the hunting seasons are during the breeding season.
Yes, they are.
And I don't exactly know why that is, like once upon a time, why that was created. But what I do know is that they are easier to hunt during that time.
Yes.
So if you think about it, like when a dude gets really horny and is ready to
Do you guys have a mating season?
No, I'm just saying, and he's ready to get out and do his thing, he gets really dumb.
Right.
And everything goes out the window except that.
I think the technical term is he's thinking with his dick.
Yeah.
He's thinking of this wrong head.
Yeah. So then he's like willing to put himself in danger. Everything goes out the window. He doesn't care. It's go time. I'm just I'm man, here I go, and then boom.
Yeah, boom.
He did.
Your fun's over, buddy. I'm glad you had it while it lasted.
Good thing you broke it down like that. I mean, it's so true.
Yeah, it's like Daytona during spring break, really. Right now for the turkeys, think of it that way. Like it doesn't matter now. We're out in the middle of the road while a truck is driving at me, but I don't care because got my fan out, I'm strutting. And I'm hoping some ladies are watching me right now.
And you know what I thought? I thought the dudes weren't together, Toms, like at all. But I saw two puffed up, and I was shocked because were they then competing for the same ladies? They're like, bro, let's go, let's fight.
They've probably already had that fight.
Okay, they already know who's more dominant.
Yep. So the one that won, right?
Okay.
He gets the first go of it, and we actually have an episode where we filmed all this. Where they've already done that, and a group of 4 Toms all come strutting out. The big boy gets his run first, and then the other 3 get their run. Like it's crazy.
But they've picked different ones, or
no? It's the same gal on this one.
She's a hoe.
She's a lady of the night.
Lady of the night. There you go.
No.
Yeah.
No, but it's in. I mean, you can guarantee that she's been fertilized and she's going to be laying fertilized eggs.
Yeah,
then,
but you don't know who the daddy is.
I don't think.
It doesn't matter.
They don't. Yeah,
I know.
The turkeys and deer and everything else, like the main point is to reproduce.
I just had to say
that's
it.
a pretty good way to go about it, So
I guess, but then the other ladies are like, really?
Oh no, they get run through too.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're just not first picked by all 4.
I can't wait to, and we'll get Garrett on the show here. And we'll go back to this because it fires him and other bow hunters up that we put our big old bucks at such risk in Nebraska and have the peak rut is what it's called when they come into rut.
Or they still call it rut because they did. Okay, it's called that I learned for deer.
No,
okay.
That's what they call it for deer.
Oh,
for deer.
Oh, we're talking about deer.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, sorry.
But it fires them up, the bow hunters that we put rifle season right at the peak of the rut every year in Nebraska because these big bucks that are 6, 7 years old that have done everything they possibly could to survive that long. And now you're catching them at a very vulnerable spot.
A dumb spot.
A very dumb spot. And you have a 300 Winchester mag, with a certain type of $2,000 scope on it. It's like just so unfair.
But what does he suggest would be a better time for them to be hunted?
He wants to do it like Iowa or other states do and set it back where the rut's already kind of taken place. And it just kind of levels the playing field.
I gotcha.
The bucks kind of have their minds back in a yeah.
They're more thinking with their right
It's
head.
not Daytona anymore. The fun's been had. We're back in school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, this is interesting to me because I'm not a turkey hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Can you count how many turkeys you've ever shot? Yeah, like it's so many.
Yeah, it's quite a few now.
Okay.
But
Mr. Ben over here's never got one.
I've never shot a turkey.
Really?
Yep.
I mean, well, let's go out
Tons
and let's do it. Let's do it.
Other what would you call it? Flying birds? No, pheasant, quail. What's the difference?
Upland.
Upland. And this is downland?
No, I don't think that's really a thing.
It is now. We just coined it.
Okay.
Well,
Downland. I want to see the stock and rod downland.
It's a big old turkey. And
guys, I don't know these terms.
I don't know.
So what's
sounds good
the
to me.
difference between birds that you walk a field for?
I mean, there's a big difference. I don't know
No,
what you're...
but what are they? What's the term?
So turkeys are they're on the Nebraska Game and Parks website. They're considered big game.
They are.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're right. Dove, pheasants,
Quail. What is that? Small game?
upland. It has its own
Upland.
It's
Okay.
upland. So yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I like downland.
I think that's pretty clever. I
Turkeys
don't
are
think anyone else is doing that.
They're downland.
Downland birds.
Whatever you say.
He's looking at me like I'm an idiot. Hey, just shooting at the hip here, guys.
No, we'll get Ben out here and Joel, because that's really my that's kind of where it's gone for me. Is I'm just as satisfied, if not more satisfied, kind of sitting behind the shooter and calling and filming and helping them get their bird.
So what kind of call do you have a specific one
Yeah.
or you have a few?
I got more than a few, but I'm kind of old school. I love the box call.
Okay. Is that what you had at home?
Yeah.
That
no,
stick thing?
No,
But
no, that's the
slate
like the
call.
scratch. Yeah, the slate. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I love my slate call too. And so like I have a system that just works for me. The box call is a little louder and robust, so that'll catch their attention and bring them in. And then a lot of times those old wily toms, even though it's spring break, they'll get hung up at like 40 yards or 50 yards and maybe be behind, some shrubs or something. Then I get out that slate call and I make a purring noise with it. And they're like, okay, bet's off. I'm going. I'm getting after it.
Man, you have it down, huh?
Yeah. So, and then they, it gets them all riled up, and you can hear all these crazy different noises, and they start strutting. It's just a spectacle. It's so cool to see.
I think it would be cool to see. I wouldn't be opposed to
Yeah.
going. I just don't know.
And
That would be a hard shot.
my
I feel like.
my favorite hunt is still when my wife Ashley got her first tom.
Okay.
And it was like on the last weekend, and it was her first year out, and we had just couldn't put it all together on the previous like 5, 6, 7 hunts. Like I bet we did over 20 sets, and we should have been able to seal the deal a few times, but this goes wrong, that goes, whatever. It's a learning process,
Yeah.
and Ashley had never done it before, and I was figuring out where I wanted to be set up too. And then for it all to come together in harsh conditions up in Lynch on our ranch, it was pretty cool.
That's the thing about hunting those animals too. It's the same with deer and a lot of other things. We go out, and personally, like you said, I've never shot a turkey. I've been close enough to turkeys to shoot them, but not toms. I've been as close to hens as I could have reached out and grabbed them, but just the toms aren't around.
Right.
But you go out and you go out and you go out, and you have to continue to do that. And our son, we took him out. Had been I think probably the 3rd or 4th time in his life that he's been out turkey hunting.
Okay.
And he's getting a little frustrated. He's sitting there like we're half an hour in, and he's like, there's nothing out here, and he starts falling asleep and all the things, but that's what you have to do. And we talked about it earlier where, it seems like, oh yeah, okay, they're all dumb right now. They're all over the place. Like, this is so easy.
Right.
But it's not.
No.
And that's the thing. The people who get them are the people who stay committed and continue to get out there and do the work and, figure out the behavior of the animals and find them and then get the kill.
That's like a reoccurring theme that we always bring up, like whether it's shooting sports, whether it's hunting, whether it's business. There's no go around or free pass that can get you through doing the work, actually doing the hard thing. And there's probably nothing more of a stark contrast for me than turkey hunting, because it gets boring, it gets frustrating. You sit there for 3 hours and you don't hear much, and you're thinking, why am I wasting my time? What are we doing here? I could be doing this, I could be doing that. And then as soon as you hear that gobble go, you're like,
Oh, damn.
That
Yeah.
all disappears, and if you actually call them in and you seal the deal, you get it done. You go back to camp. What a great morning, man! That was wonderful.
Yeah.
And really, it was, you had about 2 minutes of a good morning compared to 3
Yeah.
hours of a bad morning.
It's like
But
golf.
that's not how you remember it.
It's like
Yeah.
golf, when you get out and you suck, but you do every now and then get that one shot.
Right.
And
That
then
was
you're
so
like,
great.
oh man, I'm pretty good at this. Like,
Yeah, keeps you coming
I'm
back.
going to keep going back.
Man, that's frustrating golf. But yeah.
Yeah. But the other thing about turkey is, you're out there and like you said, then you do hear one in the distance or you hear something. So you get that inkling of like, oh, an animal is out here. Mm-hmm. When you're deer hunting, you don't normally hear that. It's just all of a
No.
sudden, here comes one, he popped in front of your sights.
Yeah.
Right.
So that almost makes it even more frustrating because you can hear them out there and they're
Right.
there.
Yeah.
And then I've even had times and it doesn't work. I'm sure it works for some people, but you've just had enough and the animal's not coming in, so let's go stalk it.
Oh. Yeah,
And
that's
it
tough.
just doesn't work.
No.
And that makes it
Yeah.
even more frustrating. You get out there and you're like, I know he's out here, and you just kind of get, you're trying to find him, whatever. And
Yeah. You see a lot of that on TV too, and I feel bad for the people that are getting into turkey hunting or the, youngsters that watch some of these guys, for these big brands. They make it look a little too easy.
Because that's not how it works. You really should just stay in your spot, correct?
I think there's
Well,
I think there is something to stalking. It depends. And
Sure.
it depends on the environment and the terrain, because down here where we hunt, the ground that we have is 70% wooded. Mm-hmm. So it's a different game hunting in the woods.
Yes, it is.
Obviously there's a whole lot more noise. There's a whole lot more cover. They blend in a whole lot more, all these kinds of things. Mm-hmm. We have stalked turkeys with my buddy out in essentially open pasture,
Right.
with like tree lines and things like that, and you can see the bird a couple miles away, and you want to slowly sneak up to it and things like that. And we got within a distance. We absolutely could have taken a shot, but again, it was hens, so that can be productive,
Okay.
but it's extremely tough.
Yeah, it really is. And what you have to keep in mind, whether you're stalking turkeys in open ground like that or in a wooded area, I'm not saying it can't be done. In fact, it's a very efficient way to do it. But you got to remember, their baseline of defense is their eyesight. Like deer, their biggest defense mechanism is their nose. They smell you, But with turkeys, they have phenomenal vision. So when you move, any little move you make,
They see it. Okay.
And so here you are moving at something you're trying to hunt, it's a tough scenario. Just think about it. You're trying to attract this bird to you that has phenomenal vision, and your vision's attracted to movement. Like it's a tough thing to do. And some of those pros, that work for different companies, they kind of sugarcoat it or make it look like,
It's so easy.
pick up camp and run over to those birds and then shoot them. It's like,
How's their
nah.
hearing? Is their hearing good?
Their hearing's not very good at all.
Okay, so
But-
it's more
Well,
visual stuff.
And even think of it this way: if you picture a turkey in your mind, they don't even have ears,
Oh,
right? Birds don't
okay.
even have ears, so it makes
Yeah.
sense that their hearing's not
And
that
obviously
good.
it's decent enough to where you're going to use calls.
Sure,
Like they're going to hear that.
Right.
But
right.
Oh, duh. Yeah. So, how is it if that would even be harder if you don't call at all? You're
Oh.
just literally sitting.
Well, then it's basically an out of season type of hunt. What I mean by that is like there is a fall season, which is good, bad, whatever. It's kind of then it does turn into maybe a stock type of hunting scenario, or just sit in one place and hope that something walks by. Now with the spring and it's breeding season, mating season, it mimics like an elk hunt. That's what you can compare turkey hunting to, where you actually call, they respond, you hear them respond. It's a lot of fun back and forth, and you got to put together this puzzle of how can I fool this old Tom into thinking that I'm a hen. So like there's just a lot of different factors at play if you do it right. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And then you get that rewarding sensation too, like you feel pretty good about it.
Right.
So back to upland birds.
Not downland.
Not downland.
I looked up the definition. It says, this refers to non-waterfowl game birds in ground cover-rich terrestrial ecosystems above wetlands. So essentially, like obviously the wetland is going to be like the lowest level because that's the reason why there's a pond there.
Right.
And these birds don't live in the ponds. They live in the upland, not the wetland.
Yes.
Oh,
So they're the
got
upland
it.
birds.
Got it.
So we got waterfowl, upland, and down. What'd you call it?
Downland.
Down.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's a
Okay.
stock and rod original
Yeah,
right there.
that exclusive. You heard it here.
I mean, did you try to Google downland?
it's not even a thing. What do you...
I'm just saying, just try it.
Well, that's
you
what I'm
never
saying.
freaking know. Do you?
We made it a thing. That's what
I mean, I'm sure it's an Urban Dictionary. That wouldn't be the same.
Ooh, yeah. Be careful with that.
Does it pull up anything?
No.
Oh, dang. All right,
it-
fine.
It changes it over to downloading.
Oh, yeah.
So Morgan, go ahead and get on Wikipedia and just start that page.
Okay.
Just start that definition.
Yeah.
For folks that don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, and so back to,
Kick it off.
so do you shoot a turkey in its head, correct?
Yes.
I mean, the neck, no.
Well, yeah. I mean that your shotgun pattern is
In
going
that
to
area.
encompass the head and the neck area.
But what if you hit its body?
The whole idea is to
They're
keep
tough.
keep the pellets out of the meat.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And like you said, they're a tough animal, so you might blast them there, and
And they might still keep moving?
people that poachers and things of that nature, there's tons of stories of even with a smaller caliber deer rifle shooting a turkey right in the breadbasket. Those feathers are so strong they'll deflect
Wow.
a slug like that off, and so it won't be a true shot. You'll just injure the bird.
Okay.
So it's also an issue like that. Like to be the most humane,
Yeah.
it has to be a shotgun and it has to be a headshot.
And like we talked about earlier, just kind of even the playing field. With a shotgun, you have to have a fairly close shot.
Right.
So what's the range here? We're talking 30 yards?
30, 20 yards. Especially when we're out with our 20 gauges, I like it 20 yards, 25 yards.
Wow, that's close then.
Yes, it's very
Okay.
close. And it's all preference deal. I usually set the decoys at about 5 to 10 yards, and some people are like, oh, no, that's too close, or no, that's not close enough. Like, go out and figure it out for yourself. I'm not telling you you're right or
Yep.
you're wrong. I'm just telling you what works for me.
Yep.
Now, for guys with 12 gauges that are really good and a 3-inch, shot and all that stuff, 40 yards is fine. And I've taken a 40-yard shot and got it done before as well.
I gotta
So,
imagine you're not going out any further than that. I mean, that's a
you really don't want to.
that's a hike with a shotgun.
Yep.
So and again, that's part of the idea here is that it gives the animal a little bit of more of an edge there because you have to get them in close.
Yep.
If you could use, I don't know, a small caliber rifle like maybe a 17 or
Sure, but God, that's a high. A 17 or a 22, you're really setting the table up to just injure that bird.
yeah. And I'm trying to think of something that would not blow it apart, but would go through it
Right.
at distance. So whether that's a 17 or what else? I mean, what would be next up? Would a 243 be too big? Anyway, the point is that if someone came out with something like that and was picking off turkeys at 100 yards, they probably could pick them off.
Yeah.
They're going to have some meat damage, whatever, but that's the reason for these rules.
Yeah.
Is that you have to have the shotgun. It has to be close. Yes, you could kill a turkey at 100 yards with a 243 or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's almost pointless, and it takes the game out of it.
It takes that's where I wanted to go with that. It takes the game out. It takes the chase out of it. It takes the fun out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're hunting. We want to make it hard.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where the reward comes from,
Yeah.
and the satisfaction.
Right.
So, I've talked to guys. I know a guy that his first time out deer hunting, waxed a huge, big old buck with his deer rifle. So, he barely even had to get out of his truck. And now, he has this big old deer mounted in his living room, and he hasn't really had that passion to deer hunt ever again. He goes well, I can just drive around and do that. It's well, you kind of lucked out there.
Right.
You don't know how lucky you really were there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So he didn't have to put in that time, that effort, and it kind of gypped him as far as what, he should have felt or what he could have felt or how he feels about hunting now even.
I think it would be so cool for you guys, well, just in general, to get one, but then to clean it. I've never seen that process. So
Oh, yeah.
I think
That's
that'd be kind of cool.
Definitely what we'll be doing.
Ashley has become a freaking pro at it.
Well,
and
she was a pro at the deer too.
Oh yeah,
so.
And it's a process, like because she does her homework, and so like we basically do it kind of like a chicken, where she wants to save the skin. And so we have to boil water and pour it on top, and then pull, pluck it.
She's probably researched some different ways.
Yeah.
There's probably a bunch of different ways. Funny enough, when we left Trap last weekend, I was saying we got to go because Joel was going to go hunting. And a couple of the guys were like, oh, fun, good luck. But like, I mean, it's turkey. So back to the point of how you opened it, some people were like, I can just go to the store and get a turkey. Like
Sure.
It's so, not that it's so hard, but kind of, it's just such a small animal.
And that's the thing. It's not about necessarily getting that meal because, well, I'll talk about some of those numbers, but it's about what you talked about earlier. It's about the game. It's about the hunt. It's about the experience.
The fun. Okay.
Yep, being outdoors.
And there's a lot of birds out there. So, I mean,
doing the hard thing.
Yeah, it's about that effort, and it is not about the meat necessarily, although we wouldn't shoot one and leave it. We're definitely taking the meat.
But there wouldn't be that much meat. Maybe
it's not about saving the money. It's not about, I could go buy a bird in the freezer at the grocery store cheaper. It's not about any of that. And as a matter of fact, this year, so Joel's shooting a 20 gauge. We went to a couple of different sporting goods stores to find turkey loads.
Yeah.
So, typically he's shooting a 2 3/4 shell. We found some 3-inch shells. They all come in five round packs. Whatever the shot is, 6 shot, whatever the case may be. $50, man.
Oh, I know.
$10 a round.
Yeah.
So every time he pulls that trigger, it costs $10.
Yeah.
What does a turkey cost at the grocery store? A frozen turkey.
Oh, God.
I mean, probably that.
Yeah.
So it isn't about any of that, that you're saying. It's about the whole process, the whole experience.
No, and I think they
going
were
through
just
that.
saying like, oh, it is like good for you guys. It's a lot of work, to do that.
Yeah.
I'm just, and maybe it's the comparison of the deer so big compared to like a bird so little.
I'm guilty of that too. Like back when I was younger, I'm like, oh my God, we got turkeys in our backyard.
Okay, so you kind of thought the same thing.
Yeah, and it's funny because like you don't hear that narrative so much anymore with fishing. Like, you could just go to the grocery store and buy some frozen fish. What are you doing all that work, hanging out? Like, so it's just one of those deals where it's more, I don't want to say socially acceptable, but people are conditioned to it. People get it.
It's experience.
That's a leisurely experience, like golfing and fishing, and people don't think of turkey hunting and deer hunting in that light.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
yes.
they should.
No, that shines some light on.
Yeah, it's all about
really
that.
what you're.
Now I'm all amped up. We got to get
You
Joel
ready?
out there. Yeah, let's
Okay.
do it. Let's do it.
Man.
Yeah, I want to get a phone call that says you got one.
I hope so. The last thing that I have,
Why are you smiling?
I was just thinking about what we were talking about.
Oh.
And I do want to tell Morgan, there's a ton of meat. If we get you a tom that's like 3-4 years
Okay,
old,
so
there's going to be so much meat on this bird.
how many pounds? Like if you said, like a guesstimate.
I think Ashley weighed one that was around 25 pounds.
Oh shit, that's way bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking 10, like in my head being gigantic.
It's unbelievable the difference between a hen and a tom.
Okay.
As far as the body size,
Yeah.
all the meat and all that stuff. So.
Yeah. Sorry.
So a lot of people that listen to our podcast are not from around here. So to just get some perspective, we talk to people all over the country all the time. I talked to a guy that's on the Stock and Rod website who's down in Georgia, Whitetail Cartel, and they talk about turkeys down there all the time and how low the population is, how hard of a time they've had with them.
Yeah.
They can't find them anywhere. Here in the Midwest, man, I feel like they're everywhere. And I also feel like, and people can mark my words, these things are multiplying at a rate that we are going to see these animals all over the U.S. before long. That's the way that I feel.
You think they're
about
just
it.
migrating, going to places?
I think they're.
Other
I think
places?
they're like I said, they're multiplying. You're getting more and more of them every year. They have big. What do you call their
Clutch.
What's a clutch? What do you mean?
A clutch of eggs. Clutch.
Is
of,
that what it is? Okay.
Yeah,
Yep. So they have that.
Oh, that's
so there's a
term.
lot of them that are born every year that hatch every year, and the population is getting bigger and bigger around here, and they're having to spread out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think people are going to start seeing them everywhere. I equate them to what's happening with hogs from the south,
Okay,
and how hogs are moving their way up, and then you take something like elk from the west that are moving their way east.
Yeah.
These turkeys are moving all over the place.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give people kind of a perspective of what we have here. There's a lot of them here.
Right.
There's not so many that obviously we go out and hunt and it's an easy kill.
Right.
But there is a lot.
No, and you're spot on, but there's a caveat to that.
Okay.
So turkeys are a fantastic success story of conservation, especially in Nebraska, because we basically had zero back in like the 40s, the 30s, and then they were reintroduced in like the 50s. And you can go to the Nebraska Game and Parks website to really dive into it, and I have because it's fascinating. Just they reintroduced a few here, a few there along some riverways, and they just took off, like you're saying. Like the conditions were perfect. Hunting was regulated. Now, here's what we've run into up in our area. The word is out. So we have people from California coming and blasting 3 toms every year.
Yeah.
And so our numbers have actually taken a hit. So I can't say here on this podcast that our numbers are as good as they've ever been. They were
really
about 8 or 9 years ago, but then the Game and Parks started advertising that, and it attracted
come hunt,
and they didn't start. They didn't regulate it like it probably should have been. So I think right now they've made some changes, and so I think we're going to start seeing in the next few seasons those numbers start to rise in our area. Now where we're at right here, you're exactly right, Ben, because they're not hunted.
Right in this particular area.
Yeah, so you are seeing you could say an overpopulation. I don't know, but there's a heck of a lot more birds around here.
Yeah, and how do you even gauge the population? Like, how do they even really know?
Yeah, well, I know because we go out a lot and we see them.
Yes, right? But
and it's not all just the management. There's also been like 3 really tough winters in a row. And just think about that. These birds, they roost in cottonwood trees. I got a guy told me that he came across like 50, 60 dead turkeys after a really bad ice storm. Just they all just froze to death basically.
Okay, here's another question. So they roost in the trees. Is it the same tree every night? Like, do they go home?
No, they switch it up.
Okay.
But I mean, a lot of times you'll find a good roost that you can kind of think, all right, they're
probably there.
They're in this area or they're in these trees,
It's not
nightly.
like birds where they make a nest.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So, but they do get into a pattern.
They do. Okay.
So, yeah, that's all part of the fun, figuring that out.
Yeah.
For sure. No, it's they're a neat animal. It's been neat seeing them over the years. When we first moved down here, in 90. We really saw little to none.
Right.
And now we see them almost daily.
Another thing that's really cool about Nebraska is there's basically 4 major subspecies of turkeys. The Easterns, Osceolas, Merriams, and then the Rios. And
I thought you were going to say downland.
They're all downlanders.
Downlanders.
They're all downlanders. But Nebraska has 3 of those 4. Osceolas are only found in Florida. So you can get 3 of the species of turkeys all within the borders of Nebraska.
Well,
and I don't think you can do that anywhere else.
So what does your permit say?
It doesn't matter.
it's just turkey.
Yeah.
But how many can you get? Just one?
Yeah.
Okay. Like,
Is it your permit just only allows you
I just
one?
didn't know because
Yeah.
let's just hope that your season's going to be better than my deer season.
Well, we'll see. Yeah.
But how long is season? A month?
It wraps up the final day of May.
Right.
So we still
It's
got
like
time.
perfect for you because you're kind of a wuss in the cold. Andy, we've already established this. So weather's a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
he's
I dig it.
Yeah.
out.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is that why you're so good at turkey hunting too?
Oh, no, I don't.
I'm kidding.
I've just done it a lot, and when I started, I just really enjoyed it. And to be perfectly honest, the guiding service pulled it into me.
Yeah.
Pulled me that way. And then Ashley really wanted to try it, and she just loves it. She gets into it more than I do. So I get a lot of enjoyment of going with her and helping her.
Yeah. But do you think you enjoy that or deer better? If you had to
That's
pick.
a great question. Oh man, I mean, you want to say deer, but I bet I've had a lot more fun chasing turkeys.
You think?
And spent more time turkey hunting than I have deer hunting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, that's turkey season in Nebraska, man.
Yeah.
You'll have to report back.
Yeah, we'll be out for sure. We're definitely going to get our time in. We're going to get Andy out and get some expertise.
There we go. Hey, and we'll have to keep our eyes open for some mushrooms.
It's time.
They're going to be popping here.
Well, yeah, because it's supposed to rain tomorrow.
Nothing's better than getting a tom and then having a little time to go mushroom hunting and come back with a ice cream
morels.
pail half full of mushrooms. So let's do it.
Heck yeah.
Sounds good.
All right, cool.
All right, guys.
Well, we good?
We're out of here.
Later.
All right, see ya.